Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to talk about Garveyism and the philosophy of Marcus Garvey. He's often overlooked among Black influential leaders and intellectuals, but he is a major figure, and his philosophy really influenced African Americans and Africans in the 20th century, and even to this day. So firstly, we want to ask, who was Marcus Garvey and what is Garveyism? People say a lot of things about Garvey. He has a bad reputation in many ways. Many people also respect him as well. Some say he was a Black nationalist, a fascist. He associated with white supremacists. Was he a Trumpian kind of figure because of his populist attitude? Did he want to conquer Africa and kind of be the emperor of Africa? These are some of the things that all people kind of say about Garvey. And there are some truth to some of these things. But he was very influential on the Black Power movement and the Black identity movement. He helped African Americans form an identity around themselves. And he organized Africans really like nobody else, even more than W.B. Du Bois or George Washington Carver. He had such amazing popular support. And then he was really influential in the Back to Africa movement, which I'll talk more about. So who was he? He was born in Jamaica. He immigrated to New York in 1916. He was an amazing orator. This is really his biggest skill. I encourage you to listen to some of his YouTube videos. It's really amazing to hear him speak. He was an organizer as well, developed many major organizations, and he really was the leader of really the biggest populist movement of the 20th century among Black people. He was kind of a bombastic figure. He wore military attire. And then his major organization was the UNAI, which he founded in Kingston in 1914. Now, Garveyism, what is Garveyism? So really at its heart, Garveyism is a Black nationalist populist movement, very influenced by George Washington Carver in that kind of pull yourself up by your bootstraps, do it yourself. African Americans and Africans must unite, form solidarity amongst all people, have pride in yourself, and then work together to rise yourself up. He didn't think that Africans could ever succeed in the European model. So what he really wanted to do was form Africa into an empire. He talked about Africa as this great and powerful place, and he wanted self-determination among all Africans. He wanted Africans to rise up and be an empire comparable to that of Britain or other major empires of the time. And he had major support among the working class. You know, this is why some people say he was a Trumpian figure, because he had huge support among the working class, and then also in Africa he was incredibly popular as well. But he still maintained his American identity. He didn't see a contradiction there between the two, and he was supportive of gender equality. His wife was involved in the movement. She was a major figure, and he wanted women in leadership roles. He was a major organizer. So this is one of the big things he did. He formed the UNIA, which was really one of the biggest organizations. It had 700 chapters in the 1920s and hundreds of thousands of people that would be involved in this. And the goal was to unite all of Africa and all of African diasporan people to form together, to unite and build themselves up. Founded newspapers, founded factories, associations. He was really major in this idea of social entrepreneurship, the idea that organizations should, businesses should not be just for profit. They should have a social goal and objective behind them, and they should try to change society. So he tried to change society with his businesses, and that's a very influential thing to this day. He was major in the Back to Africa movement. He wanted redemption for Africa. He revived that idea of African diaspora, which had fallen apart really after the failure of the American Colonization Society. He wanted Africa to grow. He wanted all of Africans to work together in order to make that happen. But he really didn't think that Africans could do it by themselves. Actually, he thought African Americans would have to go to Africa and take over the political leadership and then build up Africa for all of Africans and turn it into a global power. And he was associated with white supremacists. He was, you have to say that his ideas, they aligned with white supremacy in many ways. So it's kind of a blotch on his record. He had the Black Star Line ship. This was part of the social entrepreneurship. It was supposed to, it was for trade and also for carrying people to Africa. This was his big goal, to colonize Africa through this while running a business of trade. So what happened? It didn't succeed. He was constantly under investigation. Very few people went there. His newspapers were bad. He got arrested finally for mail fraud because he tried to solicit donations. And then he finally got jailed and deported. So the influence of Garvey was major. He influenced the Black Panthers for sure, Nation of Islam, other revolutionary movements. And also he definitely influenced African people around the world to just empower themselves and to really love their identity. So he's influential to this day in many, many ways, even though it's not really talked about that much. That's all. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.